Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. We're getting close. It's just a week until Christmas. In fact, this Sunday is the Sunday before Christmas, and you know you want to celebrate the birthday of Jesus by being in church Sunday, don't you? So worship with us here on campus at 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock. And if you're still not comfortable coming, and we understand that and respect that, you can also worship with us online on our YouTube channel, Facebook page, etc. So hope you worship Jesus this Sunday, the Sunday before Christmas, and also plan to worship with us on Christmas Eve. Well, in our New Testament reading plan, we are in Matthew chapter 17, so our devotion is from that chapter. And what I want to do is read a few verses at the end of the chapter and then talk about it a little bit. Let's read together starting at verse 24 of Matthew 17. It says, when this is Jesus and his disciples, came to Capernaum, those who collected the 2 drachma tax, that was an annual tax to support the temple in Jerusalem, came to Peter and said, does your teacher, i.e. does Jesus, not pay the 2 drachma tax, the temple tax, if you will? And by the way, that was equal to 2 days' work. A drachma was equal to 1 day's work for the average person in that time. And in verse 25, Peter said yes. And when Peter came into the house, Jesus spoke to him, saying, what do you think, Simon Peter? From whom do the kings of the earth collect customs or poll tax? From their sons, from their children, or from strangers, from people who are not their family, their children? Verse 26, Peter said, from strangers, those who are not their family. That's who kings collect taxes from. Jesus said to him, then the sons are exempt? Well, yeah. Verse 27, however, so that we do not offend them, go to the sea, throw in a hook, take the first fish that comes up, and when you open its mouth, you will find a shekel. That's equal to 2 drachma. Take that, or 4 drachma, take that and give it to them for you and me. So he was paying for Jesus and Peter that way. Now, here's the point. These officials come to Peter and say, is Jesus paying the annual tax to the temple? And Peter said, well, yeah. He goes into the house, and so Jesus uses this as a teaching opportunity. He makes the issue broader, not just the temple tax, but a broader issue. And so Jesus asked him, Peter, the kings of the earth, okay, do they collect taxes from their family or from everybody else, strangers? Well, Peter said, well, they collect it from strangers, everybody else, because a king doesn't tax his son. He taxes everybody else out there. And Jesus said, right. So the son is exempt. The children of the king are exempt from the taxes that the king's collecting. All the strangers pay it. But we don't want to offend anybody, so go out there and catch that fish, and there'll be money in it. Peter still had to work and pay the tax. What is this? What is this? Well, it's the temple tax. And Jesus is using the principle that kings collect taxes from strangers, not from their own children. Now stay with me. Notice this. The temple is where the Jews went to worship God. Who's Jesus? Jesus, the Father's Son, paying a tax on the temple, a tax to his Father, to himself. You get it? It's Jesus' unique way of saying, hey, I'm God. I don't have to pay that tax. That temple's where they go to worship me, even if they don't know it. But they won't understand that, so we don't want to offend anybody. So go out there, catch that fish. There'll be money, pay it. No big deal. We don't want to create a ruckus. See, sometimes insisting on your rights is the wrong thing to do. Did you catch that? Sometimes insisting on your rights is the wrong thing to do. Just because you have the right to do it doesn't mean it's right for you to do it in that circumstance. Anyway, what I really thought about as I was reading this about, not just Jesus being, God in the temple and all that, but how Jesus here is modeling something. You remember earlier in the book of Matthew, in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, back in chapters 5, 6, and the first part of chapter 7, Jesus said some interesting things in that Sermon on the Mount. For instance, in verse 41, whoever forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him who asks of you, and do not turn away from him who wants to borrow from you. Just examples. Jesus talked about going the extra mile, even when persecuted, not always demanding your way and insisting on your rights. Well, in a very real way, Jesus modeled that in the story we just read, because he didn't have to pay that temple tax. I mean, that's where they went. He's the Son. The King doesn't tax the Son. God doesn't tax, the Father doesn't tax the Son. But yet Jesus said, I don't want to cause a problem, any offense, so he paid it anyway. That's Jesus going the extra mile. That's Jesus giving to the one who wanted to borrow, so to speak. Jesus modeled for us what it means to not always insist on our rights and our ways, but to sacrifice sometimes for the sake of others. Simple, beautiful little lesson. That passage we read has nothing to do with whether or not you and I should pay taxes. Don't twist it that way. That's not what it's talking about. It's teaching who Jesus is, but making the point that Jesus sometimes is willing to go the extra mile for our benefit, for the benefit of others. And so should we. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.